Are you an artist or a small business owner struggling to connect with your core audience? Well, today may be your lucky day. I'm Jay Thinkiel of Thinkiel Marketing, and our free marketing consultations are back. Last time we opened up our free consultations, we connected and helped so many artists and entrepreneurs that we want to help even more this go round. Our consultations cater to artists and small business owners with dreams of taking their vision to the next level. So if this interests you, then simply fill out the contact form attached to this video and let's connect. Until then, just think ill. Welcome back to another episode of Conversations with Jay. I have another special guest in the building. I'm going to allow her to introduce herself for the second time.
Hi, peace, y'all. It's your homegirl, your soul sister, queen of the ghetto gospel. You know it's Johni Demeatri.
Johnny, how you been, man?
Man, I've been good, working hard, working like a slave.
What's been up since the last time we chopped it up?
Man, then put out a tape, about to put out another tape. I did pretty much like a mixtape trilogy, like a little EP series, and I'm on my third and final one. I'm about to drop it next month, in March.
What's been the reception for the first two?
Pretty good, man. Like, definitely done grew a buzz throughout the city, throughout Chicago. All original music. This is really, pretty much like my first two tapes. This will be my first three tapes. And so far, so good. Like, good reception, no lie.
Does it ever shock you when people are drawn to your music?
I wouldn't say it's shocking. It could just be overwhelming how received you can be and how much people can love you, when you have something that can really just start as a thought in your head, and then you manifest it to be whatever it becomes, whether it's a song or whatever. But just to see people take to something that comes from you it could be not shocking, but just like, man, like, you really love this. You like it a lot, for real. Like, knowing that it come from you, yeah.
I want to say I hollered at you like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So what has been the major change that you've seen in yourself as an artist over those 2 years?
I would say just a consistent growth. Basically staying consistent with myself and understanding the growth that comes from consistency.
Was it ever hard for you to, be consistent? Because personally for me, that's one of my hardest things is just stay consistent.
I would say consistency is only hard when I don't have discipline. I feel like if I can discipline myself to basically be who I need to be in the situation, then consistency is something that can come. It can come easy. I ain't gonna say it is easy, but consistency can come easy when I work hard to discipline, myself.
What's been some like other challenges you've had to overcome over these past couple years?
Basically just finding the right team of people to work with, finding correspondence in a lot of the people that I work with, and finding avenues and outlets. That I would say, being gifted or being talented has never been, my thing, but it's basically about finding the proper avenue for your talent, and not just doing any and everything. And I think that's going to be an ongoing challenge.
Does that ever get frustrating, trying to find the right people to work with, trying to find new outlets, to release your music to?
Definitely can, because everybody can, promise you the world. And it's like, oh, I got this, I can do this, but it's really, they could just be trying to use you to make themselves look good. They can't offer you anything. It's just like, but having you there makes it look like, oh, okay, well, I can do this. I've done this for this artist. It's like, no, you can't. So yeah, just finding the right type of people for yourself can be a challenge.
Have you been able to, put the right people around you?
Oh yeah. I won't complain, and act like I haven't had just a great support system, when it comes down to working with great producers and great features, great people, basically just pushing me, you know what I mean? Just really adding to my fan base and adding to just everything that I do. Yeah, I've had some great people. I've had some, can I cuss?
Yeah.
I've had some assholes, but definitely had some great people as well.
Like how do you find the balance of one first dealing with the assholes and then being able to trust, new people to be actually good people?
Understanding that both of them are a part of the process and probably both of them is necessary. Like if you trust is needed for success and pain is needed for like strength. You know what I'm saying? So when you're dealing with the pain of the assholes, it's like, okay, well, this is making you stronger. You know what I mean? But if you want to be successful, you gon' have to find somebody that you can trust.
Right.
And I think we get off on that so much. It's like, oh, well, I got trust issues. I don't trust anybody. I don't do, but it's like, if you want to get somewhere, you going to have to trust somebody.
That's a fact.
So yeah, I would say that both of them are necessary, so just basically understanding like, okay, well, you're going to go through pain and you're going to have to trust somebody.
Facts.
So yeah, definitely a big thing that I learned.
All right, now, Queen of the Ghetto Gospel.
You already know.
Feel me? Go ahead and explain that again for the people who are watching this for the first time.
Basically just being the soul, and the person that comes with the spirituality, that comes with the gospel and the Jesus freak, like I grew up in church. I was just singing at somebody's funeral yesterday in church, and it was a real, kind of homegoing experience, So it's like that's my roots, and I would never be able to separate myself to the point to where I would never even try.
Right.
I would rather just adapt it into who I basically am right now, and here you have the Queen of the Ghetto Gospel.
Is it difficult to mix the Jesus with the ghetto?
No, it's difficult to take it out. Sometimes I could be wanting to do, like some pop shit or something that just ain't got nothing to do with it. And people can be like, no, but put that on it though. Take it to church, take it here. And it's like, gosh, I wasn't even trying to do that this time.
Right.
So it could definitely be a challenge to sometimes branch off a little bit. Even though you're not trying to remove it or take it out, it could be a challenge to branch off and, show other things. Like, I can sing this too,
Now, being a gospel singer and making gospel music, it seems like gospel is put into a box where you can't expand from that. You feel me? So how have you been able to expand beyond just making gospel music and, like you say, ghetto gospel?
Yeah, I don't necessarily make gospel music. I make R&B music that feels like gospel. So there's a different type of freedom. I agree with you wholeheartedly when it comes down to that box, when you put into, like this categorical. Yeah, it's definitely a box that it puts you in. But me, myself, like I am who I am, you know what I mean? And I'm true to myself. So when it comes down, like I said, to the gospel roots, they will always be a part of me. But it's not something that is like, okay, well, I'm only in this category. I'm only in R&B. I'm only in this. I'm only in that. Like I basically try to be eclectic enough to where I can make any kind of music that I want to, but the gospel is so embedded, to where it's like, okay, well, this is who wherever she goes, this will be a part of her, so that's what it is.
Who are some of the people you look up to as far as like R&B, soul, all of that?
I get asked that a lot, and I always say, like people like Jasmine Sullivan, number one, top favorite singer since I was about 15 years old, and I love a lot of old school people, like the Anita Bakers and the Sades, when it come down to new school, even outside of, just regular R&B, I love Adele, You know, I love people like Kelly Clarkson. Even like I got a liking for a lot of people in the industry that's successful. It's not necessarily about just being in one specific category. I look up to the greats, you know. So even if it's not music, I like to study documentaries on like Michael Jordan or Shaq or Mike Tyson, you know, like people that are just successful, you know, and they are like the gods of their talent. You know what I mean? Michael Jordan is like the god of basketball. Mike
Say
Tyson, yeah, he's the god of boxing. You know, so like that's how gifted I want to be, you know, and that's how gifted I feel I am, you know, and I can be if I continue to reach it. So yeah, I look up to the greats, people that, you know, that just great in their shit.
And I want to say this is the one of the 48th laws that say don't walk in a great man's shoes. Do you ever feel that pressure aspiring to be one of the greatest?
Yes. I feel like people kind of put me there. Sometimes it could be prematurely, you know, where people can like, man, you up there with them, you up there with them and them, and it's like you could be feeling like you still growing, you know what I mean? So if you yourself feel like you in the growth phase and everybody see you being here, it's like, man, that's pressure. Yeah, because it's like, okay, well, I feel like I'm here and you putting me up here and I gotta prove like I'm up here when I really, yeah, that's pressure like a mug for sure.
Now we all had egos. For people to come and tell you like, man, you one of the greatest. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? Like, how do you navigate that with being told like you one of the greatest?
Yeah, it could definitely be feeding to the ego, ego boost when you are feeling that pressure. I think that's they kind of work hand in hand, or you know, on opposite sides, pressure versus ego. What is the pressure you feel versus what you know allow to feed your ego? You know, a lot of the times you can allow that pressure to feed your ego and it can go left, or you know, it could be something to actually help you to achieve that greatness. When it come down to me, I kind of just try to be balanced in it all and allow myself to feel that pressure. You know, they say pressure make diamonds, so you gotta feel some of the pressure, but you also, you know, gotta allow it to be a boost to your self-esteem. You have to have self-esteem in this industry. There's no way possible that you gonna not have confidence and make it. So yeah, you gotta let it feed your ego as much as you allow it to pressure you.
I think confidence is like one of the number one keys to life. Like
For
I tell
sure.
my kids all the time, you can be as talented as you want. If you lack confidence, don't none of that matter.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
yeah, confidence is definitely a major part of life.
Yeah.
Now, I was having this conversation earlier. Now, I personally feel like Chicago has some of the greatest R&B music being made right now. You feel me? But a lot of people feel like Chicago R&B is being overlooked and is being overpowered by the Chicago rap scene. Like, how do you feel about that?
I can understand that. I can understand that. I think it's a lot more rap. It's easy to be a rapper versus a singer. You know, it's easy to jump on the bandwagon and say, okay, well, I see a lot of people doing this. I'ma do this. I can get on and spit. But when it come down to singing, everybody can't sing.
Facts.
You know, so it's kind of easy to overpower it, but like, man, if you got it, you got it. You know, I go to a lot of R&B shows, and I know that R&B is alive and well. How you say is one of the best scenes. You know, I just did a show on Thursday With B-Lo of Do or Die, he put on a great show with just nothing but R&B, artists. Everybody, there was nobody weak. I'll just say that, nobody was weak. So I can say that when it come down to the rap, it's easier to be a rapper. It's easier to just say, okay, well, I'm going to make these rhymes and I'm going to say them. How many people can sing them? Not as many. So, of course, one is going to be bigger than the other, but shit, I feel like, it's a good scene out here for R&B. Like, it's alive for sure.
So what can like the average person do to help shed light on the R&B scene in Chicago? Because like I say, a lot of people feel like it doesn't exist, but I feel like they just not tapped in enough.
Yeah, tap in. That's it. I would only say that, like, tap in and support that shit. Like, when you see one, you got to know it's 50 that follow. But if you don't pay the one any attention or take it serious, then, like, nah. It's a lot of people that, we could be supporting, when it comes down to anything, hip-hop, R&B, country, any type of shit. It's a lot of people that you could be supporting. But if you don't, then, yeah, it won't exist. It just won't exist if you don't support it or if you don't tap in.
How much pride do you take in your live performance? Because I was talking to my boy Jimmy, and his exact words was, the best thing to be is in a crowd with an R&B singer that's singing. He like, you gonna feel that shit, you gonna connect with that shit, and when they get off that stage, you gonna say, hey, what's your social media? Let me follow you. So how much pride do you take in your live performance?
All of it, to the point to where I get so pissed off if the mic is not good. And we go through that a lot when it comes down to, being an indie artist, local artist or whatever, when you dealing with people who are basically just as local as you and looking for a shot and trying to put on the show to get a chance, you don't always get the best sound system. You know what I mean? So you can put on a great live show, but it's not always up to par with what you're doing if the equipment is bad. So when it comes down to somebody like me, that's where my pride comes in, because I could be singing my heart out, but if the mic is distorted or if it don't sound good, it's like, man, once again, how Erykah Badu would say, keep in mind that I'm an artist and I'm sensitive about my shit, so that's when that comes into play. It's like, no, we get real sensitive when you gotta not only perform, but it's like you gotta bare your soul before people. You got to be vulnerable before people. So it's like, yeah, you take major pride in that. Major pride, for sure.
Does that cause you to, like, pick and choose between which events you do perform at?
Yes. Everybody, I'll just say, know your worth and know what's worth you. Everything isn't worth your talent. You can have a lot of people that's just doing shit just to be doing it. And it's like, okay, well, I saw them put on the R&B show. Well, I'm about to do it. And it's like, your heart ain't even in this. You know what I mean? So, yeah, when you got pride and like, I'm doing this for real. I'm doing this to not only be successful, but to live out my purpose in life. It's like, nah, you don't let everybody touch you.
All right, now, let me ask you this, because yesterday I was riding in the car, I'm listening to the radio, and Tupac Changes came on.
Okay.
And I'm just listening to it, and it's amazing how powerful that song is still to this day. And it got me thinking, like, man, where does that music exist in today's time? Because I feel like it's artists out here making that type of music, but it's not appreciated because people want a minute and 30 song, you know what I'm saying? Or they just want something to make a TikTok dance to.
Yeah. I think that would kind of fall into kind of what we were just saying about the R&B music. It's alive and it's well, but I think we just have to be that kind of person in order to receive it. Like, it's out there, but if you only are focused on, like, big ass and twerking and whatever, that's all you're going to see. That's what you are going to manifest. Everything that your mind is focused on is going to be your manifestation. Now, it could be some things that cross your path and it's like, oh, well, where this been? I ain't seen this in a long time or what. But if your mind is only focused on the bullshit, then that's all you're going to see. But conscious music is out there. When I think about Changes by Tupac, I think conscious music, or, you know what I mean, something survival, you know, and it's definitely out there, you know, but it's about the type of people that we are. Even when it come down to those type of people, if you only so conscious and you know, I guess so conspiracy theorists and shit like that, then that's all that you gonna manifest in your life. You know, if you do want fun and twerking and shit, like, you have to step outside of that. So it's, everything is alive. You know, it just depends on what kind of person you are.
Facts.
Yeah.
Now, you have such a beautiful spirit, you know what I'm saying? How do you go about, like, nurturing yourself, you know what I'm saying, to be able to put so much positivity into the world? Because nowadays, that's hard to do.
Yeah, for sure. Understanding who I am and understanding that I'm just as powerful as anything that I see is powerful, you know, and knowing that I need to be just as much on a pedestal as anything else on the pedestal. You know, if I'm putting everything above me in my life, then where would I be, you know? But if I'm on the same level as everything, then I can be just as positive. I can be just as spiritual. I could be just as successful and valuable and resourceful. So just learning to be on the same level of everything that's on the pedestal.
Go ahead, write a book, man. Go ahead, do it. All right, now, for the people who aren't familiar with your music, get them a couple songs right now of your personal favorites.
Well, man, personal favorites, I got a lot. I've been listening to some shit that hasn't come out yet, so that's the first thing that comes to mind. But when I think about music that's released, In Vogue, I got a song where I used a popular In Vogue sample, Don't Let Go, and it became right away it became one of my biggest songs, so In Vogue. I got a song, Energy, that made MTV last year. It got chosen to be on MTV Jams in rotation for a while, so definitely I got that tatted, you know, because of that, like, man, you know. And I'm releasing some new music, like I said, this coming March. And right away I got two favorites, and it's All For Me, which is gonna be a single that's dropping. I was gonna drop it today, but I kinda, you know, I got a little undisciplined, so I'm gonna try to drop it for Valentine's Day.
Okay.
But it's a very beautiful song, great for the times. And Need Your Love would be another song that's coming out. So those 4 songs that I can think of off the top of my head, that's just definitely my favorites.
All right, let's speak about the Energy record, because like you say, that was on MTV Jams.
Yeah.
When you have a song that starts to grow legs and, you know, goes beyond your traditional reach, like, how do you capitalize on that momentum?
Man, I would just say allow it to pressure you and feed your ego. How we was just basically, you know, talking about, you know, and basically making that shit a full circle to where it's like, okay, well, you feel the pressure of, like, man, this is happening. Like, what the hell? Like, that, to me, that was like, okay, well, what do I do now? You know, but when I was asking myself, well, what do I do now? You know, basically just allowing it to feed my ego. It's like, man, keep going. You know, when you ask yourself, well, I say when I ask myself, you know, what do I do now? Like, my self-reply, just keep going.
Oh, my baby.
For real.
All right, man.
Yeah.
You spoke on some of your favorite music being your unreleased music.
Yeah.
Now, as an artist, how do you decide what's up next? You feel me? Especially when you got all these tracks and you love them all. How do you choose the next one?
it's some of them that you, well, obviously you love them all, but it's some of them that you feel, and they just feel different. I'm a real empathetic kind of person, a real empath. I know it's kind of cliche to be that now, but I really am, so I go a lot off of feeling, and when it's right, when it's just it gives you that feel.
Are you the only person to give your music the okay, or do you pass it around to get other people's feel?
Well, I'm the HBIC, but
Okay.
yeah, I do pass it around and say, okay, well, this is what I want to do, and normally, it's all in my favor, but sometimes I do get a little, well, I'll put this one out, or I'll put this one out if I was you, but for the most part, people always side with you, girl.
All right, now Erica Badu say I am an artist and I am, this
For sure.
particular about my shit.
Yes.
So how do you go about that before you release a song? Because I feel like some artists get nervous. Like I want this song to reach people. I want this song to touch people. Does that ever go into your thought process before you release a song?
Yeah, I always say my prayers. Anytime I release a song, even before I go to sing, be it gospel, R&B, anything in between, I always say my prayers to just be able to reach God's people. You know what I mean? In whatever way, just to be able to touch someone. And if everything ain't made for everybody. So you can have a song that don't touch one person at all, don't touch 50 people at all, but it can touch another 25 over here, so it's like I'm thankful for the 25, and it don't mean that I don't see the 50, but I learned to be thankful for the people that do, receive my music, and I catch up to the 50 later.
What advice would you have for any young artist, regardless of genre, if they was like, man, I really want to pursue music?
Trust yourself, search your soul, search your own soul, and know where you really are, and know how to take yourself serious when those times where it's like, man, I can't do it, or I don't do it, or I was speaking to a very wise sister one time, and she told me being is never the challenge, remaining is the challenge. So how do you remain motivated? How do you remain inspired? You can be motivated when you are, hey, you are, but how do you remain when you're not? So I would say that it would be my biggest advice is to learn how to remain.
Now, you spoke on singing at a funeral. Is it difficult, when you have to sing at a funeral compared to like an open mic or a live performance or a live show that you have?
Yeah, I sing at just as many funerals and shit as I do, perform my own music at shows. And I can say they both can be difficult, but yeah, the funeral, it can definitely be draining because you already know the type of energy that you're walking into, and it's death, so it's never easy, for the most part. It's somebody in there is gonna take it hard, so you just got to kind of prepare yourself with that, versus when you go into an R&B show or open mic or something, you can have you a few cocktails, smoke you a little something. It's a whole different energy, but when you walking in here, you got to be clear, sober minded, and you got to watch everybody cry before your eyes.
Yeah.
So it's like, think about that. Like, that's not easy. So it definitely takes spiritual and mental preparation.
How do you prepare for that though?
Man, prayer and just understanding. I would say prayer is the biggest thing, and just understanding that is a part of life. Like death is something that everybody is going to experience. Every day is somebody's born, and every day somebody dies. It's just what it is, and to whom much is given, much is required.
Right.
So for a person like me to be very gifted when it comes down to being in music, like I wouldn't want my gift to be removed just because I couldn't sing at a funeral. You know, like I'd rather do what I have to do, you know, like if God is saying, okay, well, I gave you this, you know, I never said it was going to be easy. Ain't nothing easy. You know, if you work that UPS, you know what I'm saying, your back will start hurting from picking up these big ass boxes. You still got to make your money. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So same thing. It's like it ain't easy, but you still got to do it if you want to get where you know, got to go.
What are some goals you have for this year?
Man, outside of releasing my tape, definitely, you know, trying to make it back to MTV, BET, and all that. iTunes, I got an iTunes placement when it comes down to the top 100. So, I'm interested to know where I'm gonna land on that. I'm still playing my cards out with it, but that's a big move that I'm about to make. And really just pushing myself to the limit, man. Just going as far as I can possibly go.
All right, now this is my personal favorite question. If you can go back and give your younger self any advice, what would it be?
Take yourself serious. Start taking yourself serious sooner. You know, prepare yourself sooner. You know, I feel like if I could have given myself that advice at 16, you know, I'll be 30 next month. You know, if I could have given myself that advice at 16, man, by now it's like, whoa.
Yeah, ain't no telling.
You know, so I'm happy to be where I am. I'm happy to be who I am, you know, and I know that when I was 16, I wasn't ready.
Yeah.
You know, and I can sit comfortably on that, and I thank God for preparing me to be ready, you know, at 29, turning 30.
Yeah, you know, a lot of things take time, you know, and that's why I asked that question, not in the sense of you can actually give your younger self advice, but it's usually you understanding and having knowledge, you know what I'm saying, that your younger self could have used, you know,
for sure,
and that you're currently putting in use now, you know. It's a dope question, and I like it.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, now before we get out of here, tell everybody how to get in tune with you, stay in tune with you, and when the project's dropping.
So y'all can find me everywhere on everything at Johni Demeatri. My project is dropping March 15th, which is my 30th birthday. But March 11th, I'm having a birthday bash / music release party. So I hope to see you there. I hope to see y'all, you know, in the building for sure. And we gonna party hard.
Man, every time you come through, we always have a dope conversation.
Yeah.
And before your next release, of course you got to come through, you know, bless us with another radio interview.
Oh, for sure.
We chop it up on there. You feel me? But it's always a great conversation talking to you, you know. And you came in and you said you've been seeing me. I've been seeing you too. Like a lot of people, they stop working and then they look up 5-10 years and they be like, man, what if I could have did this, I could have did that. It's okay to take a back seat to the I would say social media. Like you don't always have to show people you working, but as long as you working, you growing.
Definitely.
You know what I'm saying? And I know you have one of the most beautiful voices
Thank you
ever.
So much.
You know what I'm saying?
You.
So I want everybody out there to tune in to Johni Demeatri. Like if you ain't never listened to her music, go check it out. If you in the city or if you come from out of town, pull up to her event, you know, hear it first. You gonna perform?
Hell yeah.
Okay, so y'all get to hear it live and in person, you know. Yes. So, man, salute to you, Johni.
Thank you so much. Salute to you, too, for real. I appreciate you having me here and just creating and sharing the platform, you know. Like, I remember when we did an interview at my house the first time, you know what I'm saying? So it's like just to see the growth from both of us is big shit. So, you know, salute to you. I'm proud of you.
Man,
no lie.
I hate that interview, you know, got deleted by a hater, you know what I'm saying? But I definitely pulled up on you, and that was a great conversation as well, you know. So once again, salute to you.
Salute.
Much more growth to you and everything you got going on.
Thank you so much.
Hey, this has been another episode of Conversations with Jay.
Peace.